a world filled with sniveling snowflakes, where timeouts and safe places are abundant, where there's 37 genders to scroll through in a job application. Not that they have jobs. We're proud to be your salvation and your beacon to unabashed, in-your-face talk. This is Stars, Bars, and Cigars, the no-holds-barred conservative talk show hosted by battle-tested vets. Lock and load and get ready for an explosive journey through breaking news, the rich tapestry of constitutional history, and the pulse-pounding realities of Army and Navy life. Oh, and yeah, cigars. Stars, Bars, and Cigars. And now your hosts, Jimmy the Bull and Tig Tigger.
Hey, Patriots and Snowflakes. Tig, how are ya?
Great, Bull. How are you?
You know how that old adage goes of, when shit rolls down the hill, it kind of keeps going and rolls right on you.
Yeah. If it can happen, it happens.
Yeah, well, that's about where we're at tonight with this show. I have to apologize up front, folks. We're not on Rumble this evening. We are on YouTube and Twitch. So
we will be on the recording though on Rumble, will we not?
Yeah.
Yes.
The recording will be on Rumble. So once we're done with the show, it'll air. So
yeah. We've got a dark episode tonight, folks. So you're gonna want to
happy Mother's Day.
Happy Mother's Day to everyone. Special happy Mother's Day to, my girlfriend, Michelle, happens to be the best thing that's ever happened to me at this point in life. It's been a wonderful year for me, and I never thought it would be. I never thought that this past year would be fantastic. And, it's one of those things. Yeah, she's a mother, and, some mothers are just fantastic. They're fantastic for us as adults who had really good mothers growing up, and sometimes we just happen to be with great mothers as well. So happy Mother's Day to everybody out there that is a mother. That does not include you men who think you can have babies, because biologically you're never going to be a female, and biologically you are never going to have a baby. So get that shit out of your head right now. That shit is coming to a close.
Yeah.
So there.
Yeah. So well, tonight, like Tig said, we're going to have a kind of a little dark topic. And I kind of explained a little bit about I didn't really explain it. I just kind of more or less told you what it was about. And then it's the Red Shoe Club. And, when Tig brought it up to me, I was like, what is that? Because I really didn't even know. So I'm sure that's going to be, a thing that about 90% of our viewers are going to say to themselves. So, but first, before we get into that, let's dive into our cigars real quick. And I guess this probably isn't going to be a quick subject either. So, but nonetheless, go ahead. What are you smoking, Peg?
Yes, I didn't have the red series Don Kiki, and I would have liked this red theme. So I went with the next best one, and that's the Brown Series Toro of Don Kiki. Still a damn good cigar. They all are. All Don Kikis are. Haven't done a Don Kiki in a while, and I like to stick with the Don Kiki Nicaraguan cigars. Fantastic cigar put out by Karen Berger. There, I did a plug for you, Karen. And you can get all these different Don Kiki cigars through Cigars Crafters online. There's another plug. Now, getting right to the Don Kiki cigar. Fantastic cigar. Best $5 cigar ever. Let me tell you something, folks. I have smoked Don Kikis, just about every one they make now. This Brown Series is very good. I'm going to tell you that right now. These Don Kikis are very consistent in flavor, very consistent in the burn, easy to draw, great quality wrapper. And I got to tell you, if you compare the Don Kiki cigar, which is around $5 a stick for the average Don Kiki, it's going to beat out most of your $10 cigars. And that's how great this cigar is. This brown label Toro is about a 52 gauge. It's 6-incher. It is a Toro, of course. It has a 94-point rating. And it's almost always sold out. So you got to go online and keep going online to get one, because sometimes they're sold out a lot. So if you get one, you're fortunate. It is a medium to full-bodied cigar, very flavorful. Tobacco aged 3 years before they hand make it. They hand roll this after the tobacco has been aged 3 years, and then once it's been hand rolled, they hold off another 3 years. They age it another 3 years before they put it out there. Total of 6 year aged. And let's see, they are sun-grown wrapper. Another, let's see, Cuban seed Habano long leaf tobacco. It has floral notes, licorice, coffee, spices, earthly undertones, toasted nuts, and it finishes off with a cocoa blast. It is a very fine cigar, folks. And like I said, for $5, you can't go wrong for the average Don Kiki. And the Don Kiki Brown Series is one heck of an awesome cigar and very consistent. Now, Bull, what the hell are you smoking tonight?
Well, glad you asked, Tig. I had that brown one. That's a really good smoke. You're gonna enjoy that one. I've had.
I already know I enjoy it.
Yeah.
I've done it before.
Yeah. Well, like I said the last episode, I was going to smoke a Gurkha. I was gonna attempt to smoke it, maybe choke it. You know.
Oh yeah. What did you do? You sissied out?
No, I got the Gurkha. It's the Gurkha Nicaraguan series. So let's see how this one goes.
Hold your breath.
Yeah. So, construction wise, it's got a nice wrapper to it.
Crossing my fingers for you.
Yeah. The only thing I'm noticing is it doesn't burn very, smooth and straight. So it's got kind of a bad start going from the beginning. The first choke on it, the first couple chokes on it were a little harsh. So, but hey, I got a backup.
Yeah.
And this bitch is one badass backup. And that is the Undercrown.
Oh, the Undercrown by our favorite Drew Estate.
Yes. So
wonderful cigar.
This will be the turd. This will be the crown jewel.
Gurkha, you need to do better, because almost every cigar we've ever smoked by Gurkha sucks badly.
Listen to this. So they say that the wrapper, the binder, and the filler are all Corojo Nicaraguan, from 1999. So, there's also a mixture in the filler of Carrillo, and that's from 98. So it's aged tobacco, but I don't know.
What are they doing wrong? What are you doing wrong at the Gurkha factories? Because you don't produce any really good cigars. There's a very few people I've ever talked to that said, "Oh yeah, I like Gurkha," and I basically said, "Well, you really haven't smoked many cigars, have you?" They're not good cigars.
It did give me, kind of a sweet taste right off the foot, when I first lit it, and now it's kind of, I don't know, it's kind of going a little barnyardish, kind of. I'm just kind of hoping it gets out of the barnyard.
It's going to go south, and it's going to continue to go south. I can't see the Gurkha.
They're saying that, once it hits its full intensity, it should be in the flavors of chocolate and some dry pasta notes, which I'm not sure I think goes well together.
Dry pasta with cocoa?
I've never heard of that before.
I've never heard a cigar that has any kind of dry pasta notes whatsoever. They never talk about dry pasta notes on a cigar.
Gurkha. Oh, man.
Gurkha.
Yeah, you do better.
A cool label. It's a cool looking label.
It's a cool label.
Gurkha puts out really cool looking labels. That's the only thing that's good about them. I guess that's their selling point. We have
Right
cool
there.
labels.
Stay right there.
Let the buyer beware, because you know what?
Focus.
Cool label doesn't always mean cool, great cigar. You know,
I'm getting this really bad aftertaste too. So I might have to put this one down and fire up that Drew Estate.
yeah,
So,
we got to add some class to this program, Bull. I mean, come on.
well, hey,
Oh, Gurkha's probably any representative from Gurkha watching our show right now is probably thinking, "You motherfuckers, you assholes."
why? Why us?
Yeah. Well, you got to do better, man. You got to do better.
Yeah,
Gurkha.
do better.
You got to do better. You know, I don't know what the hell's wrong with it. It's been years you guys have had poor cigars.
Yeah,
Years.
the marketing is right on spot, but man, just the cigars, man. Come on. Hire some guys that know how to put some cigars together. Or maybe
Marketing
you
is misleading. It's misleading the public to think that maybe you have a good cigar when you never have a good cigar. I mean, I'm surprised they're still in business. I'm surprised people haven't just full-blown given up. One bad after another cigar. I mean, forget it.
I don't know, Tig. What's it going to take?
I don't know.
Maybe they should hire Karen Berger to come in and make some cigars for them for a change.
Boy, they'd be having to pay out a whole lot of money for that.
Yeah.
And why would she help a competitor? Why would she want to even help a competitor?
I guess when the money is right?
I guess, but still, I'm still going to turn around and buy Don Kiki, not a Gurkha.
Yeah, exactly. Or the AJ Fernandez.
Yeah. So it doesn't matter. It's not going to matter at all. If they announce that, Karen Berger is now assisting Gurkha cigars to make them a better quality cigar, I'll be like, bullshit. I'm going to stick with Karen Berger. I'm going to stick with Don Kiki. I will never, ever buy a Gurkha unless I want to totally smoke it to trash it on our program.
Right.
It's fun though. I'm glad you smoked a new Gurkha tonight, so that it gave me an incentive to trash Gurkha once again, because I enjoy sometimes trashing companies, products, people. You know, as if people don't even know that by now by watching our program. Give me the excuse to trash. Yeah.
Right.
So I don't know.
So we're gonna take a darker stance right now. We're gonna get into the red shoe. Well, are we done talking about cigars? Are you good there?
For now, we'll get back to it.
So hey, how was your last week there? I know we didn't get a chance to get on air, so it's been busy.
Very busy. I re-landscaped around my house front yard with the help of my girlfriend Michelle. It looks absolutely great. And what amazing work two people can do together when they actually agree on everything that's being done. Then it's just wonderful. So we redid I did all kinds of yard work in the backyard, cleaned up a lot of crap. We threw out a lot of shit that I've been accumulating for the last 20 years.
Yeah, you got to roll off, and you started just filling that bitch right up. Huh?
Ran out a dumpster in one day's time. It was full of just junk. I mean, it's like 20 years, and it was just basically like I didn't have an incentive to clean, and everything built up. And it's like, folks, if you find that the fact is that you haven't seen something in years because it's packed away, and you haven't used something in forever, get rid of it. Start cleaning house. Why? Right. Because don't be a hoarder, because it's just terrible. Because sooner or later you got to clean house, and when you do, it's all that more harder if you've put it off for years. I put off my yard for years too, and I had a whole lot of trimming to do, a whole lot of removal of brush, a whole lot of re-landscaping, and it's a good thing I had help from a couple people. Yeah, otherwise it would have been a lot tougher. So that's the whole. Besides work and then working around the house, I got very little rest, and it was tiring, but it's rewarding in the end. So that was my week. I got some motorcycle rides in, and I wanted you to ride with me yesterday, Bull. That's why I asked you to get that battery done. So we had a nice little trip out to Savannah, to contribute to Poopies since, the falling of their, what are the
Co-owners,
yeah. And they seem to be still doing okay. I mean, it wasn't real busy, but they had a live band out there and stuff, and they seem to be still doing okay, I guess. But yeah, get that battery, get that biker running.
Yeah.
We'd like to ride together here.
Oh, yeah.
Then we can get our pictures and stuff, and
Right.
maybe, we can get pictures next to our bikes with cigars sticking out of our mouths. You said you wanted to do some kind of photo op for a photo of us for our podcast or whatnot. But
right.
Get on the bike, man. It's fun.
Yes, sir. I'm getting after it.
Yeah.
All right. So, yeah, last weekend there at the last minute, my boss called me up and said he had a run for me. So I had to put everything together and only had a day and a half off. So it's just like, you don't get enough time to do anything. So it's just like, I got to back out. So, but we're on tonight. So, Red Shoe Diaries or Red Shoe,
Red Shoes at Night. Red Shoes at Night. Whoa, whoa.
That's not the name of the song, but
that's not Red Skies at Night by the Fix back in the early 80s. You know what? And I kind of chuckled here, but this is very serious, folks. This is very sinister. This is very evil, and they can call it conspiracy theory, but it's actually conspiracy fact, folks. And so
whether you like it or not.
Yeah, where do we begin?
And it kind of goes hand in hand with the Epstein list and the bullshit that we're dealing with.
Exactly does.
And
it goes probably part of the reason why recently Trump has called out Netanyahu and distanced himself from the Israeli government, which is a whole another thing we're going to talk about too a little bit here, because I really want to kind of get time to bring that up. Red Shoes, the elitists, from Hollywood to the richest famous people in the world to the powers in power, those who actually rule the world. When you see them wearing red shoes, well, you'll never, after we get done with you, you'll never see red shoes.
Hey, I got a quick question for you, Tig. The Black Aces hat you're wearing, what's up with that?
The Black Aces hat.
Or is that a black spade? I'm sorry.
It's a black spade. Those of you guys that have been in the military, you know what the black spade is. It's only certain ones that have been trained, can donor the black spade. I got it tattooed a couple times on my arm too, by the way, in a couple different designs. Anybody that's ever done any kind of combat training, anybody that's ever been taught to kill, some of you guys at Benning, some of you Marine Corps guys, special ops guys, you all know what that is. So, it's a military thing. It's, I guess, some contractors, it's a thing with them, but those military contractors, military guys, military vets that work as contractors, I don't know I've ever seen them use it, but military guys use it, from infantry to grunts to special ops, you name it.
Yeah,
those guys, special guys in the military that have been trained basically just to kill the enemy.
Yeah.
And do special duties. I mean,
now when you were in Benning, was that
the spade is a death? The spade is a death card. It's a death symbol. It's death before dishonor. So death before dishonor.
All right.
So
let's roll into the Red Shoes.
That's you got the Spartan on your hat.
Yeah, I've been wearing this for a while. I'm gonna order some new ones here coming up soon. So
the Red Shoes, folks, from Hollywood to the entertainment industry, to globalists, politics, you name it, to the Vatican, Ratzinger, Cardinal Ratzinger, otherwise he used to be known as Pope Benedict, wore the red shoes. It's very sinister, it's very evil, folks, and I don't care if you're heroes or if you're going to be pissed off at me and say you're blasphemous, you're a liar, you're a conspiracy theorist, okay, go right ahead. But why don't you go down to the rabbit hole a little deeper, and maybe you'll seek the truth, and maybe that truth's going to come out and shine the light one of these days on this stuff, because it does have to do with many from the Epstein list, many from other islands, like the Oprah Winfreys that have their own little islands, because there's more islands than Epstein's islands, folks. And you got to ask yourself, since they opened up the borders 4 years ago, the Biden regime, where did the 300,000 children go missing? Where have all the thousands of children been? I mean, yeah, there's survivors from Epstein Island, but what about the many children that went missing and never came back?
Yeah, the survivors are slowly being suicided, it looks like.
Yeah, because they don't want them testifying.
Right.
So, red shoes is a used symbol between the high elite pedophiles. It is a symbol representing human trafficking and child hunting rituals. The so-called, quote, elites have rituals where they put children as young as 2 years old in the forest at the night time and have them run and hide. They run and hide for their lives, folks. I'm not kidding you. This is stuff that, if some of you know that this is real, might bring a tear to your eye. It might be hard for you to hear. But there's a lot of kidnapped children in the world, and they go missing and they never come back. Some of them are found dead, and some of them are not found at all. And you can say that maybe the Red Shoes Club, the elitists, the very multi-billionaires, millionaires, many of them are behind this, and they seem to be above the law, because it seems like you can never arrest these people. You can never indict these people. They have too much money, and they pay off the politicians, pay off the judges, pay off the legislators, pay off anybody they can, which is why our country's so screwed up, which is why a lot of the countries in the world are so screwed up today. So going on, these kids have to run and hide for their lives. So the children, when they're doing this, running and hiding for their lives because they're being hunted, folks. Now, you've seen a lot of movies about hunting humans. They're kind of giving you a hint there. So they get this adrenaline flow in them when they're running and running for their lives. Adults, if you're being hunted, you'd be running for your lives. You get a high adrenaline flow too. So we all know what adrenaline is. The difference is the adrenaline flow in children is much more potent and can be consumed to give people youthful look to their skin, their faces, give them a youthful feel. Okay, so when that adrenaline's pumping in their blood while they run, the elites start hunting them, and at times they even kill them, and they do. Okay, and so then they suck their adrenalized blood, basically. And they use their skin for leather. And, it's kind of hard to read this, because I know it's the truth. And a lot of people out there will know it's the truth, but not a whole percentage will. So some of our listeners might not know this. They might have heard it, and they might think it's all bullshit, but it's really not. And it runs deeper than that. There's governments behind this too, government officials, Assad, CIA. And I am not.
Those are a couple coughs there. I heard you just coughing.
Yeah, I'm not suicidal, and I'm not.
Yeah, neither am I.
I'm not dying.
This is purely for entertainment purposes only.
Yeah, they use their adrenalized skin. They use their skin as leather for the red shoes that are made for the successful hunts, which is why the shoes are red. The adrenalized blood is like a drug that can make a person look and feel younger, and it's called adrenochrome. Many of you guys have heard of adrenochrome. During the 2020 COVID shutdowns, you've seen a lot of actors. They were shutting in and they were going along with the whole COVID thing. Well, and they just decided they just looked butt ugly compared to what they normally look, especially Ellen DeGeneres. That bitch. Anyway. Yeah. Oprah. Anyway. They looked without cigars. They looked like they didn't have makeup, and they looked butt ugly and old. Kathy Griffin, because because I guess they ran out of adrenochrome because they were shut down. They really couldn't do anything, you know, and to get more adrenochrome, COVID really sucked for them too, I guess.
Yeah.
The shutdowns of 2020, but this is not a conspiracy theory, folks. This is a conspiracy fact. And some really high people high up in the food chain echelon, especially in the New World Order agenda, they're behind it. Lots of your superstars,
really honestly, Tig, you don't have to dig very far to find any of this information. So I mean, it's out there if you want to find it.
It's out there, folks, and it's real. I mean, as sad as it is, it's real. And the Vatican runs one of the largest pedophile rings there is, along with your Hollywood elites like your Epsteins and some of your politicians. And Diddy, and the list goes on. And I don't know what I happen to think the reason why they're not making any indictments and arrests or doing anything with the Epstein files and lists is because, I hate to say it, folks, I know you love this administration if you're a Trump or a MAGA, but I think they're afraid that they can't indict them because some of their friends are on that list. And basically, if they indict a few, they're going to have to indict their friends too, because somebody's going to come out and say, well, no, wait a minute, you're indicting me. Why aren't you indicting them? Oh, that's right, because they're your friends and you're in power right now.
Right. Yeah. And unfortunately, I think that's the twist on this right now.
Yeah. And it's going to be an international incident because Prince Andrew is on the Epstein list. Prince Andrew has raped young little girls in the past. And,
according to the lady that was suicided. So that's not us making stuff up or anything. So this is public knowledge.
These are the same folks that killed Princess Diana. And so, yeah, here's the thing. This goes really deep. This goes into the Israeli government, the United States government. They're all part of it. I think it's the reason why we have to keep giving money to Ukraine and keep making deals with Ukraine, because not only do they house our bioweapons labs, but they also do a little bit of child trafficking, and they're heavily connected to our own officials and our own people. So it's very international. So if you were to start indictments on the Epstein's files, okay, so now you got to indict someone like Prince Andrew. He's a prince. Now we're talking royalty. So now you're going after the crown of England. So now then you got to deal with King Charles. Now you got to deal with, the officials over there. And, there's this is an international incident. This becomes a big problem. This becomes a global issue. And I don't think people can handle it. And I think a lot of people are going to get killed over having to do this kind of thing.
Right.
It's going to take a military to make arrests, massive arrests.
Yeah.
I don't know how they even begin. I really don't. And I don't think Pam Bondi knows how to begin. And no. I don't think she wants to anyway.
And I just don't think she's capable, to be honest. I mean, because this is a very deep and dark subject, and
it goes so deep. And money still talks.
Oh, and absolutely.
People still take the money and run, because frankly, here's the deal. In this world, if you don't take your bribe, if you don't take the money, then you get threatened. If you don't care about the threats, then they make good with the threats. Okay. Yeah. If it's not you, it's your family, and it doesn't matter. It goes, that list goes deep down, and it goes just about every single thing. When it comes to corporations, when it comes to the power elite and big money and stuff, you're not going to be a whistleblower for very long. You're never going to see court, because money talks. Money can buy everything, and money can make problems go away, and it can make problems go away in such a way that it does not come back to you.
Well,
and that's what's happening.
Did you see that last James O'Keefe video? I think I sent it to you. Yeah, he's scared.
He wants to expose that, and I hope he does, really.
Well, he did. He released it, and it.
Well, yeah, he did. Alex Jones is there too.
Yeah, so I mean, we're not telling people anything kind of new. Well, we are kind of new with this, but because mainstream media doesn't want to put anything out there that might incriminate or anything. So, and we're not incriminating anybody. We're just, casually talking about this. This is conversation, and like I
Well,
said, it is for
the problem
entertainment
is
purposes.
we may know the facts, we may know the truth. The thing is, though, two little pawns like us, it ain't going to amount to much because we don't have the actual evidence
Right.
to bring these people down. And that's the difference. That's why I don't think, we always say we're not suicidal and all that stuff, but, they're not going to go after two small time regular Joes. I mean, even if our podcast went up to a higher level, we really just don't have the evidence. And that's the sad point. We know it's a fact. We know the truth. We've seen the truth. We know it's there. We don't physically have the evidence in our hands. Anymore, you almost have to have videotapes. I mean, you just in audio.
Those probably do exist.
Yeah, they do, unless they've been wiped out by now. Which is probably why they took so long to get Kash Patel, why they fought so hard to get him nominated, and they fought so hard to get others.
It bought them some time,
Yeah, it bought them lots of time to burn up all that evidence that they could have used.
Shred evidence,
but nothing's going to get done. I have no faith in our justice system. I don't know.
Yeah, and I'm kind of thinking we're not going to see the daylight of this. Any of the Epstein stuff. I think it's buried and it'll stay there.
And the people.
And that's just the hard reality of it.
If you see these rich, famous people running around with red shoes, the kind that you don't see in stores, folks, the kind that are custom made, you can just think of those children that died for those shoes, because that's what happened. That's what really happened. So child trafficking isn't just prostitution. It's for their blood. It's for rituals. These people are very satanic. They literally sold their souls to get where they're at. And they are demonic by nature. That's it. We have
just like they say, the devil's not hiding anymore. It's all out in plain sight.
This is truly a battle between good and evil in this world right now. And remember, biblically, Satan fell to the earth, and he was given reign over the earth until the second coming. So if you ask why bad things happen to good people, that's why. Now, we can't be, we can't get in the mind of God to question why or wonder why, what's getting into why bad things happen. I can only know that those innocent children are in a better place, because they probably are, because we don't know what the better place looks like. We can't fathom that with our tiny little brains, Yeah. But know that this is real, and these poor children, I mean, they'll never get justice. They'll never. And this is going to continue until somebody somewhere puts a stop to it. And I know there's a couple groups out there that are well funded, and they are basically special ops guys, mercenary guys. They go around and they try to free people that are in prison. Maybe it's time that those guys start looking for these elitists that are doing these things on these islands, get their helicopters or whatever they need to do to fly out there and put an end to these people.
Yeah.
Put an end to them. And you out there know who I'm talking about. If you're watching this podcast, go out and get some.
Yeah. Send it.
Yeah. So, yeah.
So, Tig, we're kind of halfway through right now. I mean, I know we kind of BS'd a little bit on the front half. How's your smoke?
Consistent. Very good. I got a little winded, so it went out on me, but it's back.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, I didn't put the Gurkha down. I'm giving it a shot. It did mellow out. The first inch and a half on the foot was just, I don't know. It was being very questionable whether I'd stick with it.
Couldn't handle the tip, huh?
Just the tip.
Dang.
Yeah. The first inch and a half.
Yeah.
It's always the roughest, huh?
Yeah, gotta have more than an inch. Gotta have more than an inch and a half. I don't know, but you shouldn't have to go that far into a cigar before it gets better.
Yeah.
You just
Yeah, I'll probably pay for it later though. It's like, the coughing and stuff afterwards.
Yeah.
So, do you want to continue with the red shoes? Do you want to talk a little more about that?
I don't know that I can. We pretty much got our point across.
Yeah.
It's just it is what it is, folks. It is what it is. It's dark. It's sinister. It's evil. And what I told you is it's the facts. So
Yeah,
it's the truth. So just let it be known that a lot of your heroes, a lot of the people that you love,
who they say they are.
Yeah, they're very, very, very sinister and evil people.
And like you had mentioned, the generous, that witch, she put a lot of things out in plain sight, like with her show and, her backgrounds on her show kind of are very reminiscent of, some particular island,
Are you talking about fellow degenerate?
Yeah, fellow degenerate. Yes, that one.
Mhm.
So yeah, she didn't hide shit. She had it pretty much. Or I don't know. I guess we hear kind of both.
Yeah.
But like I was saying, on the set, it was modeled or mimicked after Epstein's, palace or whatever you would call that thing.
Yeah, her set looks exactly like
someone's certain island.
Yeah. So we know, fellow degenerate. We know what you're all about. You dirtbag. I never liked you from the start.
And actually, didn't fellow degenerate also get named in the Diddy deal?
Probably.
Come back to the States for that.
Yeah, I believe. I don't have all the knowledge on that. Let's get right down to it, Ellen DeGeneres. Okay, we know you're a man. We know you're not a lesbian. And we know you're a pedophile. And you know what? You, along with the rest of your friends, the De Niro's and that of the world, and the rest of you scumbags from Hollywood and that, you're going to get what you deserve one way or another.
In the end, for sure.
In the end, you will get what you deserve.
Yep.
Evil doesn't last very long. Evil lasts in this world, and then
everyone will take a knee before.
Yeah, everybody's going to take a knee, and they're going to pay. They're going to pay dearly for what. I mean, I may pay for my sins in this world, but boy, I'll tell you what. At least I can know that when I leave this world consciously, I wasn't some sick demonic fuck like you guys are.
Right.
Sick bastards. You deserve everything.
Yep.
You deserve everything that's coming to you, and then some.
Yep.
So, all right. Do you want to talk really quickly about the first 100 Trump days? First 100 days.
Let's get into that.
Democrats hate it. They say it's the worst ever. Republicans say it's the best ever. Conservatives are saying it's great and all that stuff. To me, a lot got done in 100 days. Some good, some not good enough, some not enough. I had higher expectations. I'm sorry. A lot of us did.
Well, the thing, Tig, is we come off of last 4 years of some really fucked up deals. We came off of COVID and we're trying to recover from that piece of shit deal. And, then we get Biden in there who he can't even comprehend half the stuff. So, there was a lot of people making some really terrible and poor decisions for this country.
Well, purposely, yes. They wanted to destroy it and take it down, and it's still on the verge. Well, yeah, and they brought in all these Islamic terrorists purposely.
Yeah.
And so, we're in trouble there too. That's a whole different story too, about the Islamic terrorists that are slowly taking over cities, if not states. So,
yeah, and it's going to take longer than 100 days to get our economy swinging again. Just really honestly, it's probably going to take at least a year, to be really honest with you.
Yeah. So, in a nutshell, though, I have this little list of the 100 days of Trump. What he did: secured the border, deported thousands of criminal aliens, fought against the drug cartels, brought over $5 trillion in investments to America, started renegotiating trade deals to put America workers first, unleashed American energy, drill baby drill, ended DEI in government. Too bad that wasn't in local government yet, but that's local. So, exposed billions in waste, fraud, and abuse through the Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE. Protected women's sports, no men playing in women's sports. Tariffs to countries ripping us off. Reversed many of Biden's executive orders and policies. And much that should have been done yet really hasn't been done. So we'll see what happens in the next few years. You know, we still got a few years, but I just really would like to see more happen.
Really, honestly, Tig, I think we got till midterms. You know, I mean, I have a feeling
that scares me.
Yeah, it scares me too because I think they're gonna cheat like holy heck. You know,
They are. They cheated in Wisconsin recently.
Yeah,
Wisconsin. Oh my gosh, Illinois, another bunch of bastards.
And you know,
Fitzger's got to go. Illinois, get rid of Fitzger, that fat WEF New World Order piece of garbage, commie motherfucker.
When he came out and said that he was going to, go against ICE and, stop, any type of deportations, Tom Homan should have had his ass there the next day, cuffing that son of a bitch.
Yes, he should cuff him. In fact, this guy should be arrested for inciting riots against MAGA, against Republican people. He got out there and basically said that violent things should happen to us people like us. Well, that's kind of hard for you to do that in Illinois, Fitzger, since you have such harsh gun laws over there. And
they're not so harsh for the criminals.
Well, but the thing is I'm sure there's a lot of conservative veterans over there that are getting ready. So, but anyway, there's a whole laundry list of Fitzger and why everything that bad happens to that dude is very justified. I don't wish anything good on that awful excuse for a piece of shit human being. I'm pretty sure he eats children too.
Well, that dude's a billionaire, so I mean, he's probably dabbled in a whole lot of nefarious shit. So
yeah, he's a terrible waste of human life, if you ask me, dirtbag. Yeah, so.
Well, hey, you didn't ask me how the Gurkha was halfway.
I did ask you. Well, you told me how it was when you asked me about it.
Yeah. Well, like I said, it did.
You're gonna tell me more about this Gurkha?
I'm gonna tell you a little more. It's not getting too bad. I mean, if you see it, grab it. The verdict's still out.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, there's a lot of good cigars out there, and and the price point, it's an $8 cigar.
I got to open my mind up about a Gurkha. I just can't do it. Yeah,
there's so much good stuff out there for even less money,
Yeah. I just, when you look at those Gurkhas and then I look at Donka keys that are $5 for about one of those Gurkhas, I can almost have two damn good Donka keys that I know are going to be solid. Right. I cannot.
And you're not going to have to choke it down either.
Yeah, and you're going to be hard pressed to find me putting a Gurkha in my mouth on our podcast to review it unless I just want to trash the hell out of it. And I just feel like trashing a cigar company, I don't try to do that. I try to be unbiased as much as I can, but I've tried Gurkha so many times and
I too.
They have just disappointed me every stinking time.
Yeah.
I just can't do it.
Yeah,
that's like telling me to vote. That's like saying, "Hey, man, this Democrat isn't so bad. Why don't you vote for him?" I just can't do it. I
should have really lit this bad boy up. This is the one I should have smoked.
Undercrown's very good cigar.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, anyways, getting back to the 100 days.
Yeah.
That's enough. We beat up Gurkha enough.
Yeah. Well, I still want to see Trump take down all these corrupt bastards in the swamp. I don't really care about.
No.
See, here's the thing. They say, oh, the economy's gotten better. Grocery prices have gone down. Gas prices have gone down. I don't know where I'm at. I haven't seen it. And that's what disturbs me too.
Yeah.
He's making these great deals around the world and great business deals that's going to make America rich, but what's it doing for the average person that has to pay bills and stuff?
A lot of that stuff is tech stuff. We need to see manufacturing stuff come back, because that's where the meat and potatoes is.
Yeah,
that's
and
where
I don't
we're
see
going
the
to get
trickle down. I don't see the trickle down. I don't see the trickle down effect coming.
Yeah, well, yeah, with the tech stuff, that's what scares me the most, I guess.
Yeah, I don't like the AI shit. I can tell you that much.
I don't either. I think it's evil and demonic, and it's got a purpose, and I don't think it's a good one.
No, it's not at all. I want to touch this subject just because it's really been on my mind as of late. You sent me a video, and I have talked about this on previous podcasts a little bit for almost over a year now, off and on. And the one video you sent me, these two podcasters, they're two veterans, they were talking, and they said if they were called back, if they could come back to the military, this military, they would never join.
They wouldn't.
They have no problem defending the American people and defending American soil. But as he put it, I would never fight for Zog. Now, some of you out there might know what Zog is. Most of you don't. Let's talk about what Zog really means.
That's why I sent it to you.
Yeah. The Zionist occupational government. I've talked about Zionist before. I've talked about Mossad before. On it.
You really never went into it, but
yeah. But I've told you people before, Israel, we all as Christians are taught we need to support Israel. Americans are taught we need to support Israel. I don't like to say this, but maybe some of the Democrats that are supporting Palestine are not right to support Palestine, but they may not be wrong to say that we shouldn't support Israel. Because let me tell you something, the Israel that the Bible speaks of is not the Israel of today. Has nothing to do with the Jewish people, folks. Israeli government is very, very corrupt and evil, just like most of our deep state government in the United States. They go hand in hand. They are the bedfellows, okay? And they're the bedfellows for the industrialized military complex. They are responsible for most of the current wars. They're responsible for the 20-plus year war on terror, Mossad, and our own government, okay? And the Zionists, which are a sect from Israel, not religious, not the Jewish religion,
right?
They are responsible for 9/11. They are responsible for many terrorist acts. Many of them are embedded with Hamas. So what we're doing is playing both sides of each other. We're keeping the fighting going on and making people believe that there's good versus evil when they're all the same faction. Okay? We have been giving billions to Israel for a very, very long time for them to start wars, for them to start our own wars, for them to drag us into these wars in the Middle East. And you wonder why the radical Islamic terrorists hate our guts and hate Israel's guts. It really doesn't have much to do with religion. It does somewhat, but a lot of it has to do with the reason why they call us all imperialists. They're basically saying we are murdering dogs. We are doing wars for profit. We have killed innocent. We have taken innocent lives based on lies. Okay. Now we're not unpatriotic to say this. We served our country. Many of us have, and many good veterans are saying this today. It isn't what you think it is, folks. We'll gladly defend our country and its people. and our freedoms. But we're sick and tired of defending our government who has led us into these lies, these propagandist lies. And then the media has been part of that too, that lie and stuff, to get us all on board with phony wars fought under false pretenses and just all out lies. W. Bush, big scumbag. Him and Dick Cheney, the two biggest evil scumbags on earth. And you know what? They're right in there with Israel. And Israel. And see, now you see Trump is now distancing himself from Netanyahu. Okay.
Yeah.
So now some of you Democrats might start to, oh, I guess you won't because you always hate Trump no matter what he does. But now he's starting to kind of do what you've been saying. You know, y'all kind of got decided you hated Israel and you were going to defend Palestine. Well, now you liberals might have to look at the fact that, oh, Trump's starting to distance himself a little bit from Israel and Netanyahu. Okay.
Now, let me ask you a question here, Tig. Now, when they said, you know, when the Bible says, you know, to support Israel, I mean, isn't there two ways to look at that? There's Israel's people and...
Well, that's what it means, is the people, the Jewish people. The chosen people of God are the Jewish people. When they said the nation of Israel back in the day the Bible was written, back in those days, that was a different Israel. That was meant the nation, the people, the tribes of Israel, the Jewish people. Then go fast forward. What was it? 1959. They decided to make Israel a nation again. But this time it was a different nation. It wasn't the Israel from the Bible. In fact, today you'll find that most of the Jewish people are not in the country of Israel. No. A lot of them are in Poland, as a matter of fact. There's a lot in Russia, as a matter of fact. There's some of them in Europe, some of them here.
Yeah.
So, you know, and a lot of the corrupt Jews are here in the United States. A lot of the Zionists, a lot of the, you know, the dirtbags, because they're, you know, part of the Hollywood ring, you know, and it goes to the Epstein list again, because like I said, the Zionists, some of the Israeli government, their intelligence fall right in line with our intelligence, our CIA, our deep state, and that, and they're all kind of sleeping with each other when it comes to the Epstein files, all these other unknown islands where they're trafficking children, killing children, using the adrenochrome, doing satanic rituals, you name it. And so that's the thing. So, folks, you got to second guess whether we want to support Israel or not. Support the Jewish people, but the nation of Israel, the government itself, the current government, no, they're no good. They're like our deep state. And we've been wasting billions of taxpayer dollars for years, decades, to support Israel. And what do they got? Okay, they still play the victim. Oh, we're surrounded by our enemies. We got to support Israel in the war against the terrorists and the war against all these Islamic nations that have them surrounded. Let me give you a little fun fact, folks. Because of us, because of the United States, because we're bedfellows with Israel, because Israel practically owns us, Israel has superior military in the entire region of the Middle East. If Israel wanted to, they could wipe every single country around them off the map. They have superior air power. Their air force is superior to any air force in that whole entire region. They could bomb the shit. They could carpet bomb the shit out of every stinking nation. That's right. They're not the victim, folks. They do well by themselves, and they have earned the enemies that they have gained over there. You know, it's high time we say to Israel, and we're not being Trump's, when he distanced himself from Israel, if he does completely, he's not being an isolationist. No. What he's doing is he's trying to promote peace, while the government of Israel has not promoted peace. They've never promoted peace. Okay? Never. They have never promoted peace. And that's the fact. I know it hurts some of you. The truth hurts some of you, but that's what it is. And the fact of the matter is maybe we need to stop supporting Israel and say, you're on your own. Because you know what? You made your bed. Now you can sleep in it. You've been making your bed for decades. You can start sleeping in it. You know?
And, you know, I think thinking Trump is actually putting that message out there because he's he's doing, he's distancing himself from that whole deal, and I think he's just gonna sit back and watch and see what gets done.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so we kind of touched on that.
Well, I'll tell you what, though, I'm going to tell the Christians out there, the right-wing Christians too, don't be deceived anymore. Don't be deceived. You can still support the Jewish people, support the Israeli people that are Jewish people, peace-loving people, the people that are of God. Stop supporting the country, the government, the Zionists, the Mossads of the faction that is basically run by the militarized complex, industrial complex, ZOG, the Zionist occupational government, occupied government. That's what's running the show over there. Stop supporting that shit.
Right.
Just do it, Take down your pins and your stickers and your signs that say, I support Israel. Oh, and another little tidbit. The Israeli flag, the current Israeli flag, has the Star of David on it.
Right.
Okay. The Star of David was never a thing biblically with the
6 points or whatever.
Israeli. Yeah. In fact, that Star of David, I don't know where they got that, where they even call it the Star of David, where they even got that symbol, because originally that was not a symbol. I mean, right. David never had that symbol. That was not, it's not legit. Okay. I mean, there's something to be said about this whole thing. And I don't know. Folks, if somebody ever out there, I think I'm going to re-educate myself on what was going on before World War II and during World War II, and why, what was the mindset. Now, I'm not saying I'm going to turn into a Nazi, but I want a better understanding of what the mindset was of the Third Reich and why they were killing so many Jews. I mean,
well, that's a big hush hush deal, anyways.
Yeah.
I mean, they wanted us to believe a certain, that
a superior race.
Yeah.
But the thing is, though, the Jewish people themselves were peaceful people. Did Hitler know something we didn't know? Did he see a rise in a corrupt nation? I mean, things that make you go home. The things that make you go, See, my mind's creative. Sometimes I just go off on these thoughts. I'm like,
yeah,
things are happening weird. You can't trust Israel anymore. They went totally where they're controlling everything. They control the Hollywood industry, which is very evil. They control gambling. They control the entertainment overall. They control governments. They have bought and paid for politicians. Something just isn't right there. They have started wars through their secret intelligence agencies.
Right.
I mean, something's going on there. Make sure you have the what ifs,
Yeah.
Because you had George Patton even say in the end, well, why were we fighting against the fascists when we should have been fighting against the communists? Now, that's got nothing to do with the Jews per se, but I don't know. There's a lot of stuff that's really unanswered. I think we've been lied to and kept from truth all our lives, from corrupt governments, from corrupt rulers.
Yeah, you had said something that was kind of interesting to me. It was about in the end, or during the end times, or when it gets closer to the end, knowledge will be increased.
And it is right now. It's starting to become increased. People are starting to find out a lot of truths.
Yeah.
About a lot of things, like that one tribe, I can't think of them, starts with a T. They had all these advanced buildings, advanced technology that had appeared way back when. Tartarians. And now, Tartarians. Yeah, research that, folks. That's interesting.
Yeah.
We were never taught about that stuff. How did they have...
The only thing we really know about it are the World's Fairs,
I mean, who the hell built the pyramid? Who the hell built the pyramids And what's underneath the ground of the pyramids, those spirals and stuff like that? How did that get made? How did the pyramids get made by slaves that basically had old-fashioned hammers and spikes and stuff? How did they make such fantastic looking design with the primitive stuff they had? I mean,
because there wasn't that many artisans that were even capable of, producing that kind of stuff, so it kind of really makes you wonder on how that stuff came about.
yeah.
And did you notice that they kind of swept those spiral things that you were just talking about, and what's under the pyramids, that kind of got swept under the carpet pretty quick?
Of course it did. Just like they don't want to talk about what's beyond the Antarctica wall. I mean,
yeah,
they don't, yeah. And I guess they don't want to talk much. They're still talking like we're going to advance with space, even though, everybody knows that moon landing was fake. Come on, folks. So they're not telling us the truth about space travel and about space technology either. It's just a farce too. Folks, we've been lied to all our lives about everything, and we have not been told the truth, and we have been deceived big time. Okay, so it's high time we start going down the rabbit hole. Every one of us, stop making everything political division. I think it's time. I think it's time that left wingers and right wingers come together and say, "Hey, guess what? We're being played. Every single one of us is being played. We have been made debt slaves. We have been played. We have been controlled by the same factions. Two wings, same bird. Two wings, same bird. So I would urge folks to go down the rabbit hole. Seek out information on every single thing that gets you suspicious. And like I always say, if you're not suspicious and a bit paranoid, well, then you are not prepared.
Yeah. Hey, we're at the hour mark. Let's hold over just a little bit longer, and we can talk a little bit about some trending news. Because there's a ton of it out there that we, could go over. Are you cool with that?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. Well, a couple pieces that I've come across, or like, like with the Supreme Court judges, Roberts. Why is he all of a sudden being, vocal in, saying that the illegals being deported, didn't get their due process?
Let me tell you something about Chief Roberts. He was a Bush pick. He's a globalist.
Yeah.
Bought and paid for. He's a dirtbag. He's a lowlife piece of shit traitor. He is the worst of the worst. That guy is a scumbag. He's never been a conservative. He's a New World Order junkie. Let me tell you something about Roberts, okay? He's not following the Constitution, and neither is the rest of those judges that talk about due process. What due process? They were here. They came here illegally, folks. Illegals that come here illegal. There's a process in which you become a legal citizen. When you're not a legal citizen, like they are not, you don't have any constitutional rights whatsoever. They don't have the right to due process because they don't have constitutional rights because they are not legal citizens. Get that through your thick fucking heads, people.
Right. And, the other thing to that, Tig, is that, he did nothing. Absolutely nothing for due process for the J6ers.
No, he did not, because he is a sellout piece of crap. You hear that, Chief Roberts? You're a sellout piece of crap. You're a traitor to the Constitution. You're a traitor to America. You are treasonous. You yourself probably deserve jail time, but we just don't have the goods on you because you're high up there. You know what? It's high time that we, the people, understand this. Understand this. The Supreme Court is supposed to be there to basically give us what is constitutional and what is not. They have no right to make a judgment and make a law. They're not lawmakers, and they have no right to overturn the decision by the executor of this country, which is the President of the United States. No right. No judges. These judges that are blocking Trump's agenda, like the deportation and stuff,
yeah,
they don't have that right to do it. Okay, the executor has that right. They don't have the right. He's protecting illegals that are coming over here that are hardened criminals, that are terrorists. They're illegal invaders, which means we, the people, even have the right to defend ourselves against invasions. An invader invading our country. They're invaders. They were never here legally. If they are not here legally through the process that needs to be done to become a legal citizen, then therefore they don't have constitutional rights. And I don't care what judge in the land says what or tries to block, they don't have the legal authority to block the president's deportation agenda. Okay? Because what he's doing is protecting America from invasion, from invaders, from illegals, from criminals, from traffickers, you name it. Because that's what they're doing. They brought criminals over here. They brought gangs over here. Yes, MS-13 is a legitimate gang. They are bad ass people. They are criminals, hardened criminals. We've got terrorists that have come over here. He has every right to deport them, and no judge in the land can do anything to block it legally. So stop thinking they can do that. They think they can do it. Stop thinking they can do it. They don't have a right to do it, and there's no reason why the Trump administration should allow this. They should disregard what the judges say and say, you know what, fuck you. We're going to do what we want because we can. And let me tell you something. They've been attacking Trump for being unconstitutional on this. He's not. He's not unconstitutional because it says right there in the Constitution about legalized citizenship. Okay, and that there's a process. And if they're illegal citizens, they don't have rights. Only legal citizens of the United States of America have constitutional rights under and have the Bill of Rights. They don't. They don't have due process because they're not legal citizens.
Right.
They need to go. They need to go one way or another. And now, did you hear that Trump? He's doing an executive order. I guess he's given them the free will to leave on their own. He's willing to fly them out of here the same way they came in. And he says, I don't care. You can fly anywhere you want. I don't care where you go, just not here. Yeah.
It was actually kind of comical when he came out with that. I mean, I thought that was a pretty interesting.
It's closing time. It's closing time. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here.
Yep. Don't go away, man. Just go away.
Yeah.
So, in other news, I know you're a big martial arts dude. I mean, at least you were in the past. And Steven Seagal, what are your feelings about him?
Oh my gosh. Oh, where do I go with this guy?
Well, just let me give you a little tidbit here before you go on.
I do respect the art of Aikido.
He was spotted in Moscow attending Victory Day military parade hosted by Putin. So, let that sink in a little bit.
Doesn't bother me though. I mean, look, he's there. He lives in Russia.
Dual citizenship over there or something.
I think he does. He speaks Russian. He lives over there. And Seagal is what he is. And he's kind of an idiot, and he does say a lot of stupid things and that. But let me tell you, there's some things he is correct about. Like it or hate it, there's some things he's correct about. And I do respect the art of Aikido. Yes, Aikido itself isn't going to be the be-all, end-all, and you're not going to win any fights using just Aikido. But Aikido has good techniques that are good closing techniques. Good. If you mix Aikido in with a lot of other martial arts, it can become useful. Right. It's taken from Aiki Jiu-Jitsu, which is the ancient samurai art, which included the same techniques as Aikido, but instead of just Aikido itself, which doesn't have a whole lot of striking, Aiki Jiu-Jitsu had striking in it, and had a lot of weapons. Aikido has the jo staff, the bow staff, and they use that in the form of the sword. But Aiki Jiu-Jitsu was the art of the samurai, so they had swords as well. Kenjutsu, art of the sword and stuff. I can go on and on and on about that, but I respect what he does in that art. What I don't respect is the fact that he lies about a lot of stuff.
Right.
He's not very honest about a lot. And I don't think Russia's as bad as we've been brainwashed to believe it
Right.
is. I'm not saying Russia's great. I'm not saying they don't have corruption. What I'm saying is they're not as bad as we've been brainwashed all our lives to believe. Yes, when they were a communist nation, yeah, there's nothing worse than communism, folks.
Right.
But Russia itself, they're going to have their own corruption. We do, but they're not much different from us, really, except for the fact that, you know, hats off to Putin, because you know what? They don't have chemtrails poisoning their skies. They don't have MGOs, genetically modified poison in the food that we do. They don't have the artificial red dyes that poison our drinks. Okay. Russians are healthier than we are because they don't have all that shit poisoning their air, poisoning their drinks, poisoning their food. So there's something to be said about that. So I don't want to touch Siegel. It's a love-hate with him. I love some of them. I hate some of them. Chuck Norris is still one of the best stand-up guys in the martial arts I've ever. Chuck, if you want to ask me about Chuck Norris, I can tell you he's awesome. You know, so when you bring about different martial artists and different films and stuff, and guys like that, you know, there's some that I don't really want to say too much. I don't want to touch because I have both criticisms, harsh criticisms, and some positive things to talk about. I don't have a damn bad thing to say about Chuck Norris. He's awesome.
Yeah,
he's a great guy. You know, he is the American spirit right there. A veteran, an Air Force vet, and a legitimate martial artist.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Okay. Moving on here. MTG, she's bringing up, she wants to impeach radical judges. And again, Judge Roberts is saying no go.
Impeach him.
Right, man. She's totally right.
Mm-hmm. She's 100% right. 100% right. Judges that don't do their job, judges that are biased, they don't belong. See, the whole job of the judge is to judge based on the Constitution, not based on bias, not based on manipulating the Constitution or their opinions, their personal opinions. And when they're violating that, clearly they need to be gone. They're dirtbags, all of them. They could have heard all the evidence. They could have shown and seen all the evidence that shows all the fraud that has happened in our elections, and they have failed to do it based on bias. They're not justice. They don't stand for justice anymore. Thomas Jefferson said a long time ago, one of our founding fathers, Thomas Jefferson said, when we allow the justice system to become too powerful and too corrupt, we will lose the republic. And that's what's happening because of them.
Did you see is it July, I think, or June? They're having that money forum thing down in Brazil or some shit like that, where they're going to decide whether they're going to keep the US dollar as a trading.
Yeah, there's a couple other nations too that are deciding whether they're going to ditch the dollar or not. You know, this one of these things got Kennedy killed, and that's he wanted to go back to the gold standard, go back to the greenback dollars, get us out of the Federal Reserve.
Yeah,
that needed to happen yesterday.
Yeah,
we'd be better off if we got out of the Federal Reserve. And you know, where's the Federal Reserve Bank and headquarters? Well, it's in London. Why are we still friends with England? Why are we friends with the nation, the country that we fought and got our independence from? Why are we still letting them dictate what we do and making deals with them and just real close allies with them? Why have we defended them in wars in the past? Why have they defended us in wars in the past? It's corrupt. See, we're still answering to the crown in a way, and that's a whole different subject I wanted to do on a different podcast about
we don't
why are we still friends with Israel and England. So, you know, there it is. I don't blame them for wanting to get away from the dollar, but I don't want to see digitalized currency either being brought into the make. I don't want the globalized currency, which they're trying to do. They want a new world currency. They want a one government, one world order, one world currency. And we need
they
to
want to push
stop that.
social, credit scoring on people too. So that means anybody that wants to speak out, they're going to hang them, with a short noose,
Well, and what social credit scoring would do, and taking away your money and stuff like that, what that does is really violate the Nuremberg Code. So the digital currency social credit score is a huge dose of fascism.
Yeah.
So for all you libtards that like to use the term fascism, Nazi all the time, well, the people you vote for show a lot of traits of fascism and communism. And if you defend getting rid of the dollar in place of the digital currency and the social credit score, there is nothing more fascist than that.
Right.
So, yeah. So I don't know. Brazilians, you need to kind of decide what you want to do. We can't tell you what to do, but I'll tell you what other currency you're going to have. You're going to have your own. You're going to go to a digitalized currency, which would be a big no-no. I don't know. I don't know what to say to that, really. Poland is preparing for war, and the European Union has approved to arm European countries. If you don't think we're on the brink of World War III or a civil war, you might want to guess again. Something's got to give, folks. I don't approve of the new deals that we're doing with the European Union that Trump's doing, and some of his deals he's doing, I'm questioning why. But then again, I don't know. Maybe he knows more than I do. So.
Right. You got any trending news you want to talk about and discuss into depth a little bit before we sign off here?
I don't think I have any much more except that RFK Jr., he said, he's kind of a whistleblower. There was a whistleblower too in the Health and Human Services that was left over from the Biden regime.
Yeah.
And RFK Jr. came right out and said that the Biden administration collaborated in child trafficking and is part of that 3,000 missing children thing. So,
things that make you go home again, huh?
Yeah. Talk about corruption in the last regime, but we knew that.
Right.
They all ought to be indicted. That last regime, the Biden regime, they all need to be indicted.
Yeah.
So yeah.
There's some stuff here I wanted to talk about. Maybe I sent it to the wrong spot.
Oh, I got another one for you.
All right, go ahead.
The Canadian government is testing the mRNA COVID-style vax as an aerospray through chemtrails. See the chemtrails going in our skies as if it wasn't poisoning us enough? Now they're experimenting in Canada through the use of putting mRNA-style vaccines in the chemtrails. Boy, they're really not hiding the fact they want to poison the shit out of everybody.
Right.
That's a crime against humanity, folks, and the chemtrails. So,
well, the other thing too is, RFK Jr. said that he was going to get rid of that, but I think he kind of walked back a little bit of that. I don't know, what the whole story is, or, if he can even do that. So that's kind of interesting that, he kind of walked back a little bit of that.
Well, you know what? He blamed it on DARPA.
Right.
DARPA's responsible for the chemtrails, folks. And DARPA, let me give you, if you don't know what DARPA is, it is the Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency. It's United States Department of Defense Research and Development Agency that develops advanced technologies for military applications, such as chemtrails, the direct energy weapons, all
that fall under the DOD then? That'd be Pete Higgs' little
Yeah, well, he better
or...
do something about it. It was established in 1958. DARPA has played a significant role in shaping modern technology, including GPS, drones, and stealth technology, on top of what I just said, which was basically chemtrails and direct energy weapons. Yeah, and right on top of that, Trump had said that the people of this country have no idea how powerful this country is and the secret weapons that is beyond their knowledge.
Yeah, we got stuff that, would totally blow your mind.
Yeah. We've got drones that can fire out a whole bunch of like little bullets that can just spray and just kill tons and tons of people in one.
Not only that, but I'm seeing where they got those little drones that will have little shape charges in them that, they could, you could go outside and it would hit you and, kill you basically. And then they would say, oh, it was someone shot them and,
And how about the fact I think they're collaborating with Bill Gates with the deadly mosquitoes and stuff like that, and the mechanical mosquitoes that they've made. People might think that's a conspiracy theory, but hey, you have no idea, folks. And it's not a conspiracy theory. They got all kinds of shit. They got robots, everything.
I know what I wanted to bring up was that 21 trillion that came up missing that they were talking about.
Yeah, where's the gold at, folks? Where's the gold? Because it's not in Fort Knox.
The Bush era, I guess, is when they built these underground cities that they use the 21 trillion for. Anything about those? I mean, I came across a few little tidbits.
I know this, folks.
Yeah,
they're trying to kill us all through the chemtrails, through the poisoning of the food, and et cetera, et cetera. And so when you got people that say, well, why would they try to kill us? Because then they're going to kill themselves too. No, folks, the most powerful, most richest, most elite people in the world are one big club, and we're not in it. And they have underground penthouses, underground cities that are like 5 miles deep and even further deep. And they've got everything they need and the best foods, the best nutrition, the best of everything in those places. So while they're killing us, they'll go underground and they'll basically be fine. The only time they come to the surface is when they talk to the media, and then they go back down in their little dungeons.
Kind of reptilian in a sense.
Yes, they're all reptilians. Some people won't fathom that, but well.
It's funny.
That's coming out though too a little bit more. So
yeah, and what's funny is when you hear like some talk show hosts, I've heard it a couple of times on Rav.
Yeah,
they've actually mentioned it.
They actually say reptile.
I know. It's funny when you hear it, and people just don't realize it. But why did they get rid of the Tartarian bells?
Yeah. Makes you wonder. And the reptilians are demons, basically. They're just demons from hell.
Yeah.
So there you go.
There you go. All right. Well, tonight we had a little snafu when I was getting online. So with that, I apologize for coming on late. And also the Rumble feed kind of pissed off and didn't want to cooperate tonight. So that's but you should see it shortly after we're done here.
Yeah, we will be on Rumble. Just the recording though.
Yeah. And then as far as all of our streaming services, those will all be active as soon as the podcast is done as well. We'd like to thank everybody on that end. We want to thank YouTube and Twitch tonight. That's where we were live. So I guess when we put it out there, we need to say that we're going to be on all those different platforms, Tig. So
yep.
So if you don't see us on Rumble, check us out on Twitch or YouTube.
YouTube.
So with that, I guess I'm good. And are you good?
I'm good.
All right. Well, thanks for following Stars, Bars, and Cigars. And
till next time.
Till next time. You got your partying?
Well, I already did my partying earlier, so I'm not going to repeat myself. But hey, everybody.
Fucking skies.
Hey, for all you military veterans, you know what it means. Stay frosty. Stay frosty.
All right. Have a good night.
Good night, folks.
You've been listening to Stars, Bars, and Cigars. Two conservative vets telling it like it is. The rally cry for those who appreciate bold truths served with a side of mayhem.
Roger, outside. Decide before not to Until we see Butcher 3. Out.
We hope you've enjoyed the show. If you did,
no,
make
it's like
sure
this.
to like, rate, and review. And if you didn't, well, why are you still here, Snowflake? We'll be back soon, but in the meantime, follow us on Rumble, YouTube, Facebook, Spotify, and hear our precious voices on all the streaming services. Until next time, keep the spirit of freedom roaring.